Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Aloha, everybody. This is Harold Green of Bright Tree Financial Group, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hopefully, you are having a fantastic week. I am doing okay. It is a Friday for me here. I've had a very interesting past week and a half. I've been very busy, and I ended up getting myself sick. Not coronavirus or anything like that, just some minor health issues. And I would attribute it to me just simply running at a speed of 100 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour, giving it everything I can, being all in. But one of the things that I sometimes fail to remember is that I am not Superman. I am not made of iron. I am not a superhero. I am a pretty much ordinary human being, and I must put things in perspective, and I must do a better job of balancing out my life. You know, I talk to so many people and they say, you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. And I hear that all the time. You know, but what does it actually mean to take care of yourself? And, you know, and it's different for everybody. So I ended up changing my diet a little bit, and which I've already have been on a diet, and I've been losing weight, not necessarily a diet, but a lifestyle change. And I've been making a lot of progress. And so I think I've been going at it a little too hard, doing a little too much, and I need to slow it down. Instead of keeping it 100, maybe I need to keep it at 75 for a while, maybe back it down to 50 for a little bit. But other than that, I'm doing quite well. And so I want to get into today's show. The title is Life Insurance versus Investments. Again, life insurance versus investment. And, you know, before I've been thinking about what to say for the show for a long time, probably about a month now. And quite frankly, life insurance versus investments should not even be a conversation. But you have people out there in the world who swear they know what they're talking about. And a lot of times these arguments are not helpful for, you know, the average person trying to figure out their finances. These conversations are detrimental. So what I want to do today is, you know, I want to do my best to kind of clear this up a little bit and just give you guys some advice on where to go from here. So the first thing I did is I started looking at the internet, because that's where people, you know, pretty much where people go. And if you just do, you know, a search of life insurance versus investing, you're going to get a bunch of stuff. Okay. And so I'm just going to go into it a little bit and then give you guys some updates on, you know, where things are with life insurance companies, where things are, you know, with the market. And then you're going to have to look at your own financial plans and then make some adjustments in your financial plans to, if you can, you know, add this information in, and hopefully it'll make a difference. So I'm going to start by looking at something I found on Investopedia. And it says, is life insurance a smart investment? And I'm just going to read. It says, many financial advisors recommend against permanent life insurance due to expensive management fees and agent commissions, and instead repeat the common phrase, buy term and invest the difference. And it says this advice is based on the fact that term life insurance is usually significantly less expensive than permanent life insurance. And I have a CLU, which is Charter Life and Charter Life Underwriter designation. And it's kind of like an expert designation for life insurance. And I've been dealing with life insurance for well over 20 years. I've seen all variable UL variable UL, index UL, variable whole life. My God, there's life insurance. There's tons of different types of products out there by many different companies. And part of this advice is some of it, I wouldn't say is correct, but in some cases you do have to watch for the commissions in the policy. And some of the life insurance policies have gotten a bad rap because they don't grow the cash value for, say, like the first 3 years. It just shows zero. And if you're going to buy a life insurance policy that has zero cash value for the first 3 years, that's probably not a good deal. And it's probably a policy that has been poorly designed. A lot of these arguments that people are making against life insurance is because policies have been poorly designed to fit the client's financial plan. So, key number one, if you are going to buy a life insurance policy, you must make sure that it has been built and structured based on your needs for today. I'm going to say that again. The plan must be built and structured based on your needs today. A lot of times when people are buying whole life insurance, it's because, they'll have cash value 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, or they're using it for their estate planning. This kind of goes against my philosophy in the Rapid Retire program of dual purpose dollars. Dual purpose dollars is money doing more than one thing at the same time. For example, I probably have about 10 or 15 whole life insurance policies spread amongst my wife and my kids and myself. I strongly believe in dividend paying whole life policies that are structured properly. And the reason why, some years when my business wasn't doing too well, I could live on the savings of my life insurance policy because it was structured to build cash value right away. The way I build my life insurance policies is you can have access to your cash value after the first 30 days of setting the plan up. That's how potent these policies can be. However, when you're buying a life insurance policy from someone that's selling it to you versus structuring it in a long-term financial plan, you must watch out. And that's key number 2. You must buy the life insurance policy versus it being sold to you out of some kind of fear that you need to put monies in a safe place because the stock market is going to crash. There's all different types of fear mongering going on to sell different types of things, different types of life insurance policies. Same thing happens with the investment side. I've heard investment advisors, and I've kind of been guilty of this a little bit before too, is saying that, you definitely want to watch out for buying the wrong type of life insurance instead of putting some of the money in the market. But I've seen advisors say, no, you shouldn't have any life insurance policies at all, maybe term insurance because it's cheap, and then you invest the rest. Now, the thing about term life insurance policies, you have to understand this. Less than 1% of all term life insurance policies that are issued get paid, okay? Less than 1% of all whole life insurance policies issued get paid. Why? Because the people keep changing the term policies, okay? They'll buy a 10-year term policy and then, Term Direct or whatever fancy, snazzy, term life insurance peddler on the internet comes out and says, hey, Joe, did you know you can buy $1 million term life policy for only $40 a month? Stuff like that, right? And people keep churning and churning and churning and churning these policies to the point where I would suppose that term life insurance policies make more money for life insurance companies than whole life policies. Why? Because whole life policies usually do get paid out because people keep them for their entire life, or they have to pull, the life insurance companies make sure the cash is available so that when people want funds out, they can pull some of that money out. So you're going to have to temper your ideology, and you're going to have to look at it from a long-term planning perspective of this buying term versus whole life insurance. I also found something that says, is it better to buy life insurance or invest? And it says using permanent life insurance as an investment might make sense for certain high net worth individuals looking to minimize estate taxes. It says, but for the average person, buying term and investing, the difference is usually the better option. Let's define the word average, right? If you're making $200,000-$300,000 a year, are you average? Probably not. What if you're making $150,000 a year? Are you average? Probably not. If you're making $50,000 a year, are you average? Maybe. But you have to define what average means. And so when you're reading things on the internet, you can't simply look at yourself and say, hey, I'm an average guy. I shouldn't be wasting my money buying whole life. I tell you guys, honestly, I bought my first whole life policy when I think I was 23 years old. Okay. And I have it still. It's one of the smallest policies I have, but I bought it when I was 23. I'm 47 going on 48 right now. And so I've had that whole life policy for a very, 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 very long time, and I plan on keeping them and not canceling them. Okay. So you have to look at yourself and figure out, okay, are you average? Who does this advice apply to? And again, if you're working with your advisor and you have a long-term financial plan, you have to be careful when they start to pit one particular ideology over the other, and you have to run the numbers. You have to have them run the numbers. And that's one of the things I always do in my client meetings is we run their investment numbers. We run all these numbers and we look out in the future and say, okay, by having this policy, how does it play into your long-term financial plan? One of the biggest things I am using the dividend paying whole life policy for is to offset capital gains taxes and also earn income taxes for my clients when they turn 72 years of age. Why? Because at 72 and a half, you are required to take the funds from your investment accounts and pay the taxes on them for your IRAs, okay? With the exception of the Roth IRA. But most people are not converting their regular IRAs into Roth IRAs. Most people are just simply continuing on with their traditional IRAs. And in most cases, people end up with large lump sums of traditional IRAs because they don't do the 401k Roth, which I kind of don't agree with, but I kind of do. But it depends on the person's situation and what their upcoming needs are going to be. So that's something that you definitely want to look at. I see something else on here. It says why life insurance is a bad investment. Bad heading right away. Life insurance is not an investment. You do not invest in life insurance. And these people got it wrong right off the bat at momanddadmoney.com. You got it wrong right off the bat because life insurance is not an investment. Apple stock is an investment. Tesla stock is an investment. IBM stock is an investment. Stocks are investments. Mutual funds are investments. They're already disturbing the idea of the asset class. Okay. Life insurance is an asset class all to itself. Kind of like, buying real estate. It's an asset class. And I've kind of talked about this in my show. These guys are commingling these things into one asset class and calling life insurance an investment. It is not. It's an insurance policy. Now, people have used the component of the cash value growth and they likened it to an investment, but it's not, because if you're in a dividend paying whole life policy, it doesn't go up or down. Investments go up and down. Now, if you are buying a life insurance policy tied to the stock market, like a variable life insurance policy, then that is an investment. It has a life insurance component and it has an investment component. And I'll be honest with you, these policies have some of the worst fees in them, some of the worst investment choices in them I've ever seen, and some of the worst growth I've ever seen. Now, a policy like that is a bad investment. So we just have to be real about what's what. Okay. So they go on to say, it also has cash value component that grows over time, similar to savings or investment account. From a pure insurance standpoint, whole life is generally not a useful product. Really, I beg to differ on that, because when I was going through tough times, guess who I could call up? I could call up my life insurance company, and I can go online and pull out as much cash value as I had in there to do whatever I wanted with no permission from anyone. I paid no taxes on it. So I beg to differ. It is much more expensive than term, often 10 to 12 times expensive. I don't like the word expensive. Here we go with labels. Expensive. Different things for different people can be expensive. And I'll give you an example. A person with $30 million in their account can look at something like, say, a Porsche that's $150,000. And to them, it's not expensive, right? It's just a cost. Whereas someone who has $100,000 in their account and they're looking at that same $150,000 Porsche, that's expensive to them. So we have to kind of get away from these types of words and labels, that the words that hold us back, words that, that don't benefit us. And the word expensive is one of those words. Okay. And then it goes on to say, and most people don't need coverage for their entire life. That's not true. If you plan on dying broke, you don't need life insurance. But if you plan on having your assets grow and grow and grow, you're definitely going to need something to offset the taxes that you are going to be paying or your kids are going to be paying on their estate. And that's very, very, very important. More stuff in here says, is life insurance a waste of money? Is term life insurance a good investment? What are the worst insurance companies? All of this is product centric. And product centric means we're focusing on life insurance as a product and not a tool. I'm going to share this with you guys. Life insurance is a tool, not a product. It is a tool. Okay. And a tool is something that you buy that can be used. So when you're looking at life insurance, you have to look at it as a tool. Now, you're going to have to temper that with your overall financial plan, because sometimes you can be overweighted as an asset class in life insurance when you can technically pull some of that cash value out and invest it in the market. And that's what I'm going to get into when we talk about dual purpose dollars. Okay. So I have a strategy in the firm that I use in the Rapid Retire program where we look at the cash value in the life insurance policy, and depending on where the client is and then how much cash value is in the policy, we actually pull that cash out, and then we invest it in the market. And so the thing with investments is all investments do have a level of risk. And so you're going to have to do your due diligence on your investing. Okay. And so past results do not indicate, past performance do not indicate future results. And so you can't rely on, the statements that are being made. And so I tell you, don't rely on my statements, do your own research. Okay. So I put that out there because I want to give you guys an example. So I had a client who had a whole life insurance policy. He bought it, and basically he pulled equity out of his home, equity out of his other, investments, and he bought the policy because he was using it to help pay for college. Okay. And so he bought BMW, he paid for college, and he did all different types of things. And so now college is over with. And unfortunately, he ended up getting a divorce. And so I helped him through that. And we worked through that and rebuilt his financial plan to the point where now he has all this money sitting in the life insurance policy. And I said, hey, we don't need all of this money sitting in the policy right now. And as a matter of fact, you have so much money sitting in the policy, we can pull half of it out, stick it in the investment account, and then do our best to generate enough returns in order to pay your premium every single year, even the taxes. And that kind of blew him away. And he said, Harold, you're always coming at me out of left field. And I said, I always come at my clients out of left field, because if you look over in right field, I don't know if I like what I see over there. Okay. So in other words, what we were talking about is coming up with ideas that seem to be radical, that, if you run this by your friends, they may say, oh, well, why are you doing that? But based on his long-term financial plan, it worked. So I think he was up and we just did this probably about back in July, and he's up 35% since July. And so based on how I manage my clients' funds in the market, my strategy is basically stock picking at the moment and simply rotating out of those stocks when they're not performing the way they should, or they're trending the wrong direction, and replacing them with other stocks. And so we try not to fall in love with any one particular stock. I do some buy and hold inside the portfolios based on where we are. And if the growth sector is rocking and rolling, I am not going to trim the growth sector because it is rocking and rolling. Now, if value is stagnating, I'm going to rotate out of that into growth. And so I have my list of picks, and I'm constantly researching and adding more stocks to the portfolios in order to get a potentially better return. Now, one of the things that are happening right now is we have a lot of IPOs coming out, and these IPOs are hot and they are skyrocketing. But I'm going to do a show later on called Don't Believe the Hype. And I'm going to get into some of the things people do to hype things, and it gets the consumer, juiced up, gassed up, jacked up, ready to go. Next thing you know, some of these IPOs are doing big 180s or whatever, and you got to watch that. So I'm going to talk about that. But I am looking at trimming some of the growth stocks right now and picking up a little bit of some of these IPOs at a time. And it's IPOs that I believe in. It's IPOs that I think are good for society. IPOs that are companies that are going to be around for a long time and that are just not hype. Okay. So getting back to the life insurance versus the investing, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need both. And if you are a responsible person, you're going to need both. Now, if you're a multi-millionaire and you want to self-insure, then you can definitely do that, but you're still going to have some sort of mechanism in place to help offset your taxes. So again, life insurance versus investments should not even be a conversation. And when you hear these things, or you hear some of the things that people say that really don't make any sense to you, you can investigate it a little bit, but then you want to look at that against your long-term financial plan. And then just don't fall into some of the things that people say out there. I'm not going to name any names, but there's some celebrity investment advisors that say, whole life insurance is a scam, or this is a scam, or that is a scam. And some of these people just need to shut up, because these things are not scams. If, what would be a scam is you buying something that was poorly built, and the person building it knew that they were cheating you. No, that's bad. But that's not what we're talking about here, okay? So I just wanted to drop this on you guys today. I want you to do your due diligence on it. And if you want to know more about my Rapid Retire program, go to my website, retirenow.retirewow.com, and then just look at the brochure, read through it, and then get in touch with me to help you stop doing what you hate, okay? So I enjoyed sharing with you guys today, and until next time, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is the podcastfactory.com.